This video is sponsored by Bootcamp.com. Check it out for INBDE prep and use coupon code MENTALDENTAL for 10% off. Hey everyone, Dr. Ryan here, coming to you from the beautiful Carolinas, and today's topic is going to be how to retain information for your exam. Guys, if you like the content, please like this video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and share it with your friends. So this is a great suggestion that I got from one of my subscribers, so thank you so much for submitting that. And I would love to talk to you a little bit about retaining information, because studying or learning the material for the first time is really only half the battle here. We also have to recall that information when it comes time to take the test. And that can be really, really challenging, especially if we're studying for a board exam where there's so many different topics to cover and there's so many different content areas to learn about that it can be overwhelming at times to have to remember everything. You feel like you just finished studying for a couple days and now you're moving on to the next topic and you're worried you're already forgetting about what you learned those last few days. And so I want to share some advice with you to help allay those concerns. And these are things that really helped me when I was studying for my board exam and other exams, to lock the information into my brain. So when it came time to sit down, I wasn't worried about not remembering certain things. Of course, you can't remember 100% of the information you learn, but if we can get the vast majority locked in there, I think you'll feel a lot better going into your test day. Okay, so tip number one is to use different learning methods. Okay, so what do I mean by that? Well, the first exposure you might get to some material is watching a video on my channel, and that's great. That's a great place to start, but I don't want you to stop there. So if you watch a video, you're learning about root canal treatment, let's say, and you're done with it, and now you move on to the next video. Well, that might not be enough time and might not be enough to let everything sit in your brain. So we need to apply that material. We need to take notes while we're watching the video or rewatching the video. We have to take some time after that and maybe draw some pictures, get some colored pencils or different colored markers and draw out some diagrams. Even if you're not an artist, that's okay. Nobody's grading the quality of your artwork. That's okay. It's just for you. And draw some things, and that can be really, really helpful if you're a visual learner, to use those diagrams to study and label them and really manipulate the material in order to make it fresh, exciting, and other things you can do are draw charts. You can make flashcards. I talk about that a lot. Just doing things that allow you to sit with the material, not just breeze through it and go to the next thing, but allowing your brain to wrestle with the material and for it to start to sink in a little bit deeper, not just sit at a surface level. Because once it sinks in there, once the seed is planted, it's a lot harder to uproot that from your brain. Now, if you just fly onto the next thing, that's not the case. And so using different learning methods, not just watching a video once, but taking notes, making pictures, making a study guide, printing out that study guide, underlining, highlighting. The more moments that you create, that you have with the material, the more likely you are to remember them, because you might be sitting at the computer screen taking your test and you're reading the question, and then a moment pops up in your head where you're like, oh yeah, I remember drawing that out, and I remember that picture that's up and to the right of my laptop screen at my desk. I know exactly the picture that I was drawing there, and yeah, okay, I remember that was, you get the idea. So that really helps with recall. Tip number two is to synthesize the information together. And so, especially when we're talking about the board exam scenario, where you're learning about all these different specialties of dentistry, it's a lot harder to remember information if it's all separate. Okay, so if you're taking the test and all these facts are floating around in your head and they're from all these different areas. That can be really tough to remember clearly. But if you're studying and you're making links between the different specialties as you study, it becomes a lot easier. So let me give you an example. Let's say you're studying about prosthodontics and you're learning about Auntie's Law, which I know is kind of outdated, but it's still on the exam sometimes. Auntie's Law, and you're learning about the different surface area of the periodontal ligament, and the more surface area there is, the more stable the abutment tooth. And then you remember, oh yeah, okay, so the periodontal ligament surface area also has to do with orthodontics, and if we're moving teeth, those teeth are harder to move the more surface area there is, because that means there's more bone that has to remodel, and that also means that that tooth is a better anchorage unit. And oh yeah, let's remember, how does bone remodel again with the osteoblasts and osteoclasts? And okay, now I'm thinking about the different roots of teeth and the dental anatomy, and how many roots does this tooth have? And you can kind of draw these connections that really help you to synthesize the information together, because now you don't have these different separate ideas, but you've created a network or a spider web of all these ideas connected to each other that can help you can help spark an idea in your brain, can help kickstart that process when you're trying to remember something on the exam. And then my final piece of advice, tip number 3, is to teach the material to someone else. This is such an important tip. I can't stress this enough, guys. If you've heard of the teach back method, it really is the best way to learn. And essentially what it is you learn the material well enough that you're able to teach it to someone else. And especially if you can teach it to someone who doesn't know what you're talking about or has no experience in dentistry. So if you can call up a friend, you can call up someone in your family who doesn't really know this material well, and if you're able to share it with them and teach it to them, and you're able to do it in a way that they now understand, that's a great sign that you have a good grasp on the material. Because you might be trying to teach something to someone and realize, oh, I have some blind spots here. I'm not able to communicate this properly, and they're getting confused, and now I'm confused. So I have to go back to these areas and touch up on my weaknesses because I don't know this material as well as I thought I did. But if you do teach it to someone and they understand it and they're like, oh, that's pretty cool, tell me more about that. Now you're cooking. Now you're in really good shape, and those ideas are getting locked in there. And this has happened to me. I've taught material to my parents. God bless them. They've listened to me talk about dentistry probably more than they care to admit. But when I'm taking the test and I'm remembering, oh my gosh, I remember that from a conversation I had with them, this concept, and here it is, and this is the answer. And so just more moments, more time that you spend grasping and wrestling with the material, the better chance you have of remembering things on test day. So guys, I really hope this was helpful for you. I hope you enjoyed the video. I love doing it from the beautiful Carolinas. And if you have other ideas, by the way, please suggest them in the comments. I'm always reading them, and I'm happy to do more videos like this to address things that you're concerned about, worried about, and I'd be happy to help you. So again, thanks for watching, guys. So great to communicate with you here, and we'll see you all in the next video. That's it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. Please like this video if you enjoyed it, and subscribe to this channel for much more on dentistry. If you'd like to support me, please check out my Patreon page. And thank you to all of my patrons for their support. You can unlock access to my video slides to take notes on and practice questions for the board exams, so go check that out. The link is in the description. Thanks again for watching, everyone. I'll see you in the next video.